a Carl Walker-Peters worldie in the end was enough to give Saints all 3 points against Bristol City on Wednesday night. Alfie, that was a very frustrating first 45 minutes, wasn't it? After that game against Huddersfield, we thought we would see a bit of reaction, and for 45 minutes, just something didn't click.
Yeah, they're very lucky, weren't they? I mean, I've actually sung the praises of young Tommy Conway quite a lot this season, and sort of my friends and that, because I think he's a really, really good striker, but he missed a couple of gilt-edged opportunities. I know Gavin made a save or two that was really impressive as well, but there was one at the back post, it was a free header, should have been 1-0. Should have been 1-0 again just before half-time, like I say, when he tried to round Gavin Bazunu. But they got in 0-0. And then I thought the second half was totally different. I don't know if City were just really poor in the second 45, or if, as Russell Martin believes, they were made to look poor by an outstanding Saints performance. But ultimately, they got the job done. They got a first clean sheet at home since March. And look what that's led to, another one already. So, yeah, it wasn't amazing, but Carl Walker-Peters, it was a goal worthy of winning the match.
Yeah, absolutely. Fraser, I mean, it was a case of sort of grounding out a result, really. Not pretty, but when you take it into the context of the whole week, that's 7 points again this week, and that's got to be a real bonus.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I'd like Alfie sort of refers to that. I don't think the performance was as good as Martin maybe made it out to be. The second half performance, I think it was a good performance. We controlled the game, but like Alfie said, I don't know how much that was sort of Bristol City not sort of pushing on as much as maybe we thought they might.
Did it surprise you how they just kind of like sat back? Because you think they've got to go for it, because they had aspirations of making the top six, and they want to be getting something out of that game, but they just seem to just sort of sit back and let us control the game.
Yeah, I don't know if they sort of took a little bit of from that Huddersfield game and sort of thought, well, the way to beat Southampton is frustrate them and then create chances towards the end of the game. But I did think they let us off a little bit lightly potentially. I think we weren't at our best that day on Wednesday, and I think we could have potentially. We could have lost that game. I mean, had it not been for Walker-Peters and Bazunu making an unreal save, and like I said, he should have scored, but it was a very great save. It was two moments of real sort of brilliance that won the game for us, and other than that, we didn't really do a lot. I mean, there's not really much of note else happened, especially from our perspective, and. Yeah, I think I was a bit surprised of how Bristol set up. I thought they would try and get in behind us a little bit more. I mean, they got a bit of joy from that. But obviously, like I said, Tommy Conway sort of made a bit of a mess of it. But I was a bit surprised. And I thought it wasn't the most exciting of games. And I think that's almost the sort of part of as a spectator that sort of some people in the fan base find a bit tough, is that it's not always exciting, but actually I think we've shown, I mean, this run of 11 unbeaten has shown that this way of football, when played properly and when done right, it gets results in the Championship.
Glen, you're with us just in time to discuss the referee from the Bristol City game. So your timing is impeccable. Your thoughts on Bristol City?
Obviously, I don't know what everyone else has just said, so stop me if I repeat anything. But yeah, I mean, it was interesting. There aren't too many players in the Championship who dive around. It's one of the best things about not being in the Premier League is players generally they're pretty honest. There's certainly not as much play acting, but that guy, I don't know what his name is, Alfie or no, Sykes.
Mark Sykes.
That was embarrassing. It was absolutely embarrassing. So I mean, he went about 10 yards from that tiny little shove from Adam Armstrong, and then he did the big roll and stuff when Walker-Peters tackled him, I think, and we picked up 2 bookings from that, and it just seemed strange refereeing. There seems to be a thing in the Championship where virtually no contact will get you booked, but a big launchy tackle that is dangerous doesn't seem to get you. I mean. Did the guy get booked for the forearm smash yesterday on Alcaraz? It's strange refereeing. It's still better than having VAR and all the rubbish that goes on in the Premier League. That is without question, and that's a hill I'll die on. But I've managed to ignore pretty much the referees this season. There haven't been any that have completely got on my goat. But the Bristol City one was, I think, it's Stroud. His name was. I think, he was a bit on the bewildering side, and it's interesting looking at social media afterwards because the Bristol fans thought he was bad.
Yeah,
And we thought
and we thought he was bad. I mean, I just thought that the booking count was ridiculous in that game. I think did we have 3 or 4? But it is what it is. I mean, we've always had, going back donkey's years, we've always had officials that have been slightly strange some weeks, and it's just something you have to put up with from time to time and get on with it. But overall, I've found myself moaning a lot less about the officials and the decision making this year. I think there's an acceptance that we're going to get some, and we're not going to get others. And I was thinking about the other day, I could maybe think of 3 for, and 3 against that would probably have gone the other way if it'd been Premier League and VAR and all that stuff. And that's the very definition of evens itself out over a season, which is what everyone used to say. So I'm happy with it. And though I thought the referee was slightly strange, shall we say? Move on.
And you must have had a really good view of Carl Walker-Peters and that goal, just from where you were, just seeing that curl in. You must have loved that.
Yeah, I was directly behind that, and you could just see it coming. The defender didn't get
not the best of balls from Adam Armstrong. Though I thought he still had a bit of work to do when he played it to him.
He did have a bit of work to do, but Carl's probably got the best touch in the team. With regards to controlling balls that are fired at him, and that was a great touch. But the goal was made by the defender not getting out quickly to him, and it's like, did you not see the game against Preston? They must have known that when Walker-Peters appears there, he's got a left foot. So, I mean, usually you'd be quite comfortable showing a right back onto his left foot, but Carl's already proved this season, in a game that was live on telly, that that he can do that. So as soon as he went to shoot, I was up already. You could tell that was going to go in. Yeah.
Let's do player of the week then before we move on to preview the Watford game. Alfie, I think you abstained last week because there wasn't anybody that was worthy.
No, I abstained in error though, because I should have given it to Stewie, and I acknowledged that when Glen then mentioned it straight after, or Steve. But I will have to go for Adam Armstrong this week because he's boring. He scored the goals, but I just think that it's fun. It's so impressive the way he turned around. Obviously, the finish for the first goal after such an amazing move was unbelievable. But he's just so much quicker than everybody else, I think, and he just always seems to be there at the right moment. So I'm going for him.
There's going to be quite a long list potentially this week, Fraser. Can you narrow it down to one standout player from the last 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, I've just gone on about Downs and Manning, but I think actually, although he hasn't had loads to do, I think I'll go Bazunu this week. I mean, 2 clean sheets in a row. I think we conceded 2 in the last 5, and I think he had obviously difficult time last season, as did a lot of players, and Martin sort of stuck by him. And he's just for someone so young to be asked to play this way, I think he's so brave on the ball, and his distribution has been really, really impressive lately. So I think he's had some crucial saves, crucial moments. I think Bazunu deserves a shout.
Yeah, and as we say, that first goal yesterday, just kind of like starting from the back with him, and that was exactly what we want to see from Russell Martin's football. Glenn, who would be your standout performer this week?
I'm glad someone mentioned Ryan Manning because I thought that was his best game for us by a long, long way. He actually looked like a defender who wanted to defend. He was getting out to the winger, and he didn't do that so well against Bristol, but he did it well against Cardiff. I'm going to go very left field and mention 2 guys who have never done it for me whatsoever. That's Joe Aribo and Sekou Mara. No, absolutely, because they both, we've talked about substitutes before, and when Ryan Fraser was coming on and actually contributing something and making an impact. And I remember mentioning myself that when Sekou Mara gets his chances, he needs to actually do something, whether he gets given 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever. And he did that, and so did Joe Aribo. Now the thing for the both of those is to do it again, is to do it next time, and then you're not seen as a liability. Then whenever they come on, you're not, I'm not sat there thinking, oh my God, not these guys. Similar to James Bree. James Bree was one that I always thought was a bit of a liability, and then he came in, he played that game. And then he did well in the second game, did well in the third game, and suddenly when he comes on now, you're thinking, well, he's a decent defender. Let's keep that going. So Joe Aribo, I think, coming on for Stuart Armstrong as the sort of most advanced of the 3 midfielders, if you like. That's probably his position. And I mean, the caveat to this, of course, is that the game was dead, and Cardiff were kind of just looking for the final whistle and starting to walk home because they didn't have a train. But so they've got to impact they've got to impact a game where it's close. That's the sort of like the next phase. But the pair of them, I was pleasantly surprised with what they contributed to the game against Cardiff.
These are strange times. That's 2 clean sheets at home, and Joe Aribo nominated for Player of the Week.
Get him in.
Who'd have thought that?